I used to put so much stress and pressure on myself, almost to the point where I feel like I didn't allow myself to be happy. However, more recently, I've been starting to feel so much better. And it's definitely because of these daily habits, these routines, and the people that I surround myself with, that life has truly started to feel great. So here's exactly what I started to do. First thing being is prioritize my sleep. Sleep is arguably one of the most important parts of your life. However, most people neglect it, and most people don't even know how to properly sleep. So I've curated the perfect night routine that not only makes me sleep longer, but gives me a better quality of sleep to make me feel better throughout the rest of the day. First thing being is cut out the caffeine. Now, I used to be totally okay with cutting out caffeine 4 to 6 hours before going to sleep, but now I've extended that. That's because I've started to research more about how caffeine works. And as somebody who is completely addicted to energy drinks, I truly have one every day. And that is a terrible vice to have, and I'm working on that. But for right now, I am at least limiting myself to not have caffeine at least 8 hours before I go to sleep. Just because the caffeine isn't keeping you up or you don't feel the caffeine doesn't mean that it's not working. And just because you don't feel it in your system doesn't mean that it's not going to affect your sleep. And I know this is a little bit rough for those of you guys who go to the gym mostly at night, because the pre-workout in itself has a lot of caffeine. At least for the time being, if you want to try getting better sleep, swap to a non-stim pre-workout and go from there. I also allow my body to digest any foods and liquids that I have in my body, just to make sure that my body isn't battling that right before I go to sleep. Because again, that is going to affect your sleep, and you have to understand that sleep is really delicate. Again, just because you can fall asleep doesn't mean that you're getting quality sleep. In fact, that's where I really suggest having a tracker, and there's plenty of out there. There's Whoop, Oura Ring, Superhuman. For the longest, I've always preferred Whoop, and that's still what I use to this day. I just find it the simplest. It tells me everything that I need to know without confusing me, and I will admit it, sometimes I do get confused a little bit too easy, but Whoop is definitely the simplest one, and therefore I like it the most. Every single morning, I like to see how much of the time that I spent in bed was actually used to sleep, and how much of that time of sleep was actually high quality sleep. Another thing that I recently learned about sleep was the fact that your body has an internal clock. This is called your circadian rhythm. Now, although this is a very complex thing and I don't quite fully understand it, I do understand the fact that humans are very habitual. And although sometimes it doesn't feel like it, your body runs off routines and habits. You are supposed to get up when the sun rises and become sleepy as the sun goes down. But if you have a terrible sleeping schedule, that is very hard to do. And your body's having trouble identifying when it's supposed to get tired and when it's supposed to stop producing certain things that are keeping you up. So for one, get on top of your sleep routine. For two, actually do things throughout your day. There is no wonder that you can't sleep at night if all you ever did throughout the entire day was sit at your computer, sit at your desk, or sit on the couch binging a new TV show that you just found. I get it. I recently just discovered Dexter for the first time. However, that's not an excuse for me to throw out all the routines that's actually helping me feel better and look better. And speaking of which, you should limit your blue light, especially more towards the nighttime, because blue light is going to block your body from producing melatonin, which is also something extremely essential for your sleep. Speaking of which, the very next thing that's been making my life better is exercising more, but more specifically, exercising more strategically. Look, my entire life, I've always loved exercise, but now I'm starting to do it more in a smart way that's allowing myself to recover, to do exercises more efficiently, and overall make me feel better. So believe me, I've been in that point in time where all I want to do is grind, and you could definitely do that without completely frying your body. In order to get the physique that you want, you don't have to go every single day and completely exert your body. That is going to fry your central nervous system, and that is going to prevent you from actually hitting the fitness goals that you want. And so I still exercise 4 to 6 times a week. However, it really just depends on the week, because as of lately, I've been prioritizing recovery. Again, this is something that most younger guys fail to realize. They don't understand the importance of a proper recovery. So for one, sleeping is going to help with that. In fact, that's probably one of the main factors. But for two, allowing yourself to have a rest day sometimes takes more discipline than actually going to the gym. Now look, there's some people who like to plan their rest days accordingly, and I completely understand that. But for me personally, I don't like to say Sunday is my day off, because sometimes I have nothing else to do on a Sunday, and I would much rather be at the gym than doing absolutely nothing at all. So I base it off two things: my schedule and how I feel. So for one, if I'm completely slammed and I can't hit the gym, I'm not going to beat myself up for not being able to go to the gym. And for two, if my body is completely fried, again, I am not going to beat myself up because I didn't go to the gym. At the end of the day, it's really about listening to your own body. And I get it, especially with social media right now. The cool thing is to push through, to completely grind, no matter how you feel, no matter how tired you are. Although I do agree with that, sometimes if your body is fried, that could ultimately lead to more injuries, later down the road. In fact, that's exactly how I fried my rotator cuff, and I recently just went to go get cupped because my rotator cuff was completely fried, and despite how much I wanted to go to the gym, I knew I couldn't because it would just mess up my shoulder even more. So rest when you need to, start stretching. That's something that I'm trying to get better at as well, and listen to your body. That alone has been a huge help in making my day-to-day life feel so much better. I am less tired, I am less groggy, and overall, I am just more efficient. The next thing that I've been focusing on is a diet. Now, my diet has always fluctuated because sometimes I travel a lot and it's really hard to get on top of a diet plan when you're traveling. But I used to allow that to be the main reason why I didn't stick to anything at all. I thought, you know what? I'm traveling, let me make it worthwhile. I think that's true on vacation. In fact, I recently just went to Japan and I didn't want to have any regrets that, oh, I'm gonna be on a diet so I can't eat these foods. Absolutely not. If I'm in a new country and I want to experience something and have fun, I'm going to enjoy my time with no regrets. But if I'm moving around a lot and it's not even a place that's somewhere new, then there's no point in me getting a burger every single night. There are at least semi-decent options when it comes to dieting and fast food. You can get Chipotle, you can get Chick-fil-A grilled nuggets. It's really just all about using what you can and at least being conscious with your calories and other micronutrients. But the main thing that's been helping overall is I finally started to learn how to cook. And I mean actually cook and get better at it rather than just throwing eggs on the pan because that's all I knew how to make. I am getting incredibly good at making steaks. I've been following certain creators on social media who throw out recipes that are calorie friendly and really simple to follow. And trust me, they are exactly that. I used to be intimidated by learning how to cook, but now I'm realizing it's really not that hard and it really doesn't take too much time. So stop making excuses, go out, buy your own groceries if you can, and start following a simple meal guide. Again, it's really not that hard. The next thing I've been focusing on is mental health. Now, I've never really struggled with this in the past. In fact, my entire life, I could really count on my fingers how many times I've even remotely dealt with something similar. But that being said, like I mentioned earlier, I used to be really hard on myself, and I'm still trying to get better at that. I'm still trying to find the balance of wanting more, but not being content with your own position. It is really easy to look further down the road and think, wow, I can't wait to be here. But then it quickly turns into, I am so upset with myself for not being where I want to be. You have to keep in mind, pursuing something is great, but always chasing something is going to leave you running in circles, and there is never going to be an end to it, which is precisely why I try not to fixate on materialistic items, because if you're always chasing something shiny, you are never going to be content. So instead, don't necessarily chase shiny objects, but instead pursue becoming the person that you want to become. It's cool to think that you want a car later down the road. I myself have been looking at a few, but I can say one of the things that's been helping out a ton is journaling. I've been advocating for this for such a long time now. Some people view it as a waste of time. I promise you, it can help a ton. But whether you do it on your notes app, I prefer pen and paper. To me, it just feels the most authentic, but at least try it maybe once a week, and then you can go from there. The next reason why life feels so great is because of recent pickups. Now, despite what you might think, I'm not too much of a materialistic person, but I like my nice things, especially when it comes to clothing. Right now, we're going into the fall, and I am so excited to wear some new fall clothes. Knit polos like this, I am going to buy way more of. I'm actually just sitting down waiting for Abercrombie to drop their fall line. Trust me, as soon as they do, I'm going to make a video about it. But other pieces like hoodies from Hours, like this Polo Ralph Lauren zip polo. At this point, everybody knows fall is the best season to be dressing better. So along with that, I'm excited to get some more fall pickups. Sometimes it can be a little bit expensive, but if you want to know the 10 best items to wear under $100, here's a video that's going to show you exactly that.